What's up, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Today, we're going to talk about the news of this past weekend, essentially, which was mainly about the WNBA. We're going to dive into that whole story and obviously the debate that's going around about what the women should be paid for playing in the WNBA and all that good stuff. Training camps are underway, so later this week, I'm going to try to break down the AFC West. Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert. Now, Geno Smith is out here, Bo Nix with the Broncos. Who's going to win that division and how's that division going to play out? But like I said, we got to talk about the news of the weekend, which was the WNBA All-Star Game, which was hosted in Indianapolis. Star of the league, Caitlin Clark, is injured, so she did not participate, but obviously she was there. Her team was Team Clark, and she faced off against Team Collier, who ended up winning by a pretty lofty score of 151 to 131. Like I said, Caitlin Clark did not play, and just like the NBA All-Star Game, not a lot of defense. I mean, I get it; they don't want to get hurt, but sucks that for fans, the All-Star Game is just not really competitive in either NBA or WNBA, and that's just the way it is. And I don't see that changing. The NFL had to pretty much ditch the Pro Bowl for Pro Bowl games. Same thing. You don't want players getting hurt during that. But of course, what made waves was, and also a lot of times I think people just jump to a conclusion. I mean, I had my initial thoughts on it and had to really look into it to understand. But the big story that came out was obviously everyone, the WNBA players they all went out Friday night. I think it was Friday or Saturday night. But ultimately, the day of the All-Star Game, Kelsey Plum is sitting there with Sabrina Ionescu, and they're giving their press conference and stuff after the game. And because they wore T-shirts that we're going to take a look at here. So they wore T-shirts essentially demanding the league, to pay them more, which is part of the negotiation that they're going through. So this is what this video looked like. So here you have Breanna Stewart. The shirt say, "Pay us what you owe us." The WNBA players trying to send a message, that they want to obviously get paid more and they deserve more and all that stuff, which I don't have an issue with them wanting to get paid more. They definitely should be getting paid more. They should be asking to get paid more. That's how negotiation works. Like, of course. What I take issue with is essentially airing your dirty laundry. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a partnership. The WNBA players and the WNBA, it's a partnership. Just like the NFLPA and the NFL, just like the NBA, Player Association and the NBA. It's a partnership. And just because two people are negotiating with each other, like, that's business. That's how it works. And that's what you're supposed to do, is negotiate. The NBA is supposed to try to find a way to, not pay the players as much so their owners can make more money. And the Players Association is there to try to make more money for the players. Like, that is business. And once you understand that, like, it's not personal. Like, that's business. You're trying to take as much money away from the owners for your pockets. And so why shouldn't they be doing the same? That's business. That's business in the grand scheme of things. That's business in the free agent way of things. Like, if you're the Hornets and you want to get a free agent, you're going to try to find a way to get that free agent at the smallest amount of money so you have more cap space. And that player is going to try to sign for the largest amount of money that they can get. And that's fair game. That's how it goes. So I have no issue with that. Like, these women should be demanding to get 50%. They should ask for 80% if they want of revenue. Obviously, you got to be realistic and see what you can get. Now, right now, they're only getting, I believe it, from what I understood, it's 9%, which is very low, but that's not the WNBA's fault. That's whoever negotiated that for the players. Good for the WNBA that they were able to essentially, win by such a large margin in that negotiation. But now you have a new negotiation coming. This new wave of WNBA players is, they have more leverage and they should definitely ask for more money. However, my issue is this is not the way you ask for it. It's the All-Star Weekend where people are supposed to come and celebrate the game, and you guys are out there sending a message about, essentially putting negotiations out on blast. Like, let the people that have to negotiate that, because I just don't think that it helps them. Because if I am the WNBA, why you just are putting me out on blast, essentially disrespecting me publicly. So what makes you think that now I would want to, not be petty and not, work against you and not reach my arm a little further to say, all right, you know what? We wanted 40%. You girls want 42%. We'll give you 42%, or we'll give you 41%. Now they might play a hardball more, being like, oh, remember the thing you did when you publicly humiliated us during the WNBA All-Star event that we put on? Well, now it's going to stay at 40%. And now if you want to stay stubborn, we're going to have a lockout. And I'm not saying that's the right way of doing things. I'm just saying that's human nature. When any kind of negotiation, that is human nature. If you hire a pool guy and the pool guy doesn't, wants to put a sign in front of your house and complains about you, why would you want to rehire that pool guy again if he's embarrassing you or something? Like, I know that's a terrible example, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's necessary to be out in public now. The other, obviously, then from that afterwards, this is the press conference that got people really talking and assumed, all right, well, Kelsey Plum now is taking a shot at Caitlin Clark because essentially, so they wore these shirts during warm up the night before. It seemed like most of the WNBA women went out and partied and there was events being held. And then Kelsey Plum said this.
We didn't, at least as players, we didn't know that was going to happen. So it was a genuine surprise. But the T-shirt, just United front, was determined this morning that we had a meeting for. And, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that. But no, we were just, we had a very,
that really needed to be mentioned.
I'm trying to make the situation light, okay? But yeah, no, I think it was just all of us getting on the same page for the game. We wanted to do something that was just united and collective, and I thought that was a very powerful moment and got the point across. And sometimes you don't have to say anything.
All right, so 2 things. So when she says it got the point across to who? Because if your point was pay us what you owe us, that point across needs to be made at the business table with the people that are representing the WNBA, not with the fans. So it's like you're taking it out on the fans and trying to get them involved in the business side of things. And as a fan, like, we want to watch the game. We want to see y'all do your thing. We want to see Caitlin Clark shoot 30-footers. We want to see that. With, like, the business side of it is not, that is for y'all behind the scenes to figure out. So, but regardless of that point, the main thing here is when you hear this quote, obviously she says Team Clark, everyone started taking it as, oh, she's taking shots at Caitlin Clark, which was my initial reaction too. But you got to realize in the All-Star game, just like in the NBA now, there was Team LeBron and Team Giannis. The initial reaction when you hear Team Clark, you might think like, oh, she's talking about Caitlin Clark and her boyfriend and maybe like her family as in Team Clark. But she's referencing Team Clark like their whole team, as in the team of all-stars. So when you look at it that way, this was not a shot at Caitlin Clark. It was just a message saying, and I think, again, I don't know, and I haven't heard her speak on this, but I think she just, when she says I'm making light of a situation, is because there were multiple videos surfacing of the night before, everyone being out and drinking and stuff. So she's just saying like they were the lazy team. Like they didn't show up for the meeting in the morning because they were hungover or whatever. So I think once you break it down and you really think about it and you're like, take a beat to not react, you realize like, oh, she's just, joking around. Like, so again, now it doesn't help that the whole league does seem to have a vendetta against Caitlin Clark. And that's why everyone hears this and right away jumps to that conclusion, like forgets that Team Clark is the all-star team and just think like there's another shot at Caitlin Clark, because it does seem like the WNBA players and almost like the league doesn't embrace her as the face of the league. She is the face of the league, whether we like to admit it or not. The WNBA has changed completely and been catapulted to a whole new level because of Caitlin Clark. That's just factual. Look at the numbers. You can see it. By saying that, two things can be true at once. Yes, was the WNBA in an upward trajectory? Of course it was. It was a growing league, no doubt. but when Lisa Leslie was playing, as opposed to when Candace Parker was playing, as opposed to when Brianna Stewart now has been playing, the league has been constantly improving. But when Caitlin Clark came into the league, I mean, college basketball, women's college basketball catapulted with Caitlin Clark. And obviously from her going from there to the W, it just went to a whole nother level. That's why hopefully for them, they can negotiate a way better deal because they do deserve to be getting paid more. How's Caitlin Clark making $75,000 a year? That's not right. How's Asia Wilson on a max contract making less than $250,000 a year? Like those numbers don't add up. So good, like they do need to be negotiating. They do need to be asking for more money. No one's opposing that. But also they need to realize, Caitlin Clark, thank you, because you are a big part of that, if not the biggest part of that. And at the same time, let's handle this the professional way, the right way, because it's a negotiation. It's a business. And once it gets settled, we're supposed to be in a partnership with this league and the players in partnership for hopefully the next 10 year, if it's a 10-year deal or however long this deal is, but that's supposed to be a partnership. It doesn't need to be made, into some animosity publicly like that, is just going to make the fan base have to pick a side or turn against the league or you want the fans to like the league. You want the fans to like the individual teams so that they do support that, which in turn helps the players. So I just, again, the t-shirts, I didn't think were necessary and I think was a bad look for the players in my opinion. But they definitely should be doing that behind closed doors and negotiating and asking for their fair play and for raises and getting what they deserve essentially. So ultimately season games start back up today. And, teams will start trying to make their playoff push and the playoffs start in September. So, keep watching WNBA as it obviously has been growing and getting better and the talent's getting better. But, the All-Star game is the All-Star game, just like with the NBA now. It's kind of lost its competitive nature, to not get injured and things like that. And they'll keep adjusting. The NBA keeps adjusting and trying to find ways to make it work. But that's my thoughts on this weekend's news from the WNBA.